कि आपने एजुकेशन खत्म करने के बाद 2.5 साल ट्रैवल किया जस्ट टू फिगर आउट, तो उस समय क्या हुआ था? लाइक क्या लगा आपको कि एजुकेशन की दशा खराब है, और ये कैसे लगा कि मैं ठीक कर दूंगा उसे?
पहली बात तो मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं कि एजुकेशन की दशा खराब है। मुझे हमेशा ये बताया गया थ्रू आउट माई एजुकेशन कि मेरी दशा बहुत है।
वाओ। तो आप कैसे करते हो अपने बच्चों के साथ? यू डोंट अप्रिशिएट?
मैं एग्जैक्टली वो बताता हूँ जो मुझे लगता है। उसने कहा पापा देखो ये मैंने पेंट करी है पूरी टी शर्ट। अरे बड़ी भाई याद करी है। कहती व्हाट डू यू मीन?
आई हियर अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल कि यार बच्चों को क्या पता है, हम ही तो बताएंगे।
ये गीली मिट्टी है जिसको कुम्हार को एक शेप देनी है, वो दुनिया को बहुत सुंदर कुछ देकर जाएगी, ऐसा है ही नहीं।
बहुत लोग सेल्फ कॉन्शियस होते हैं, तो आप कभी सेल्फ कॉन्शियस नहीं थे?
जो सेल्फ कॉन्शियसनेस है वो तो एक आउटसाइड फिनोमेना है ना। राइट नाउ द बिगेस्ट बुलीज आर नॉट देयर पीयर स्टूडेंट्स, द बिगेस्ट बुलीज आर द टीचर्स।
हाँ जी सम्रांत, क्या हाल है फिर?
एकदम बढ़िया। आप बताओ।
तो ये मौका मिला है हमें बड़े टाइम बाद बैठ के गपशप मारने का। So how are you feeling today? Feeling क्या है?
I'm feeling amazing. There is so many people I've met since morning, which has added to my experience. It feels great when you hear people's aspiration and people's plan for their life. So it adds to your plan of life actually.
Wow. So how you harmonize and synchronize with each other?
To be very frank, I don't know how it happens, but it happens by its own. I've always felt that if you know, then there is a problem. If you don't know and it happens by its own.
आप जानना नहीं चाहते, बस हो रहा है।
हाँ.
और उसमें जो हो रहा है उसमें ट्रस्ट है।
Actually प्रॉब्लम इस बात में है प्रभ कि आप उसको जानने में जो टाइम, एफर्ट और अपने माइंड को ले आते हो ना, तो वो बड़ा रिस्ट्रिक्टेड हो जाता है। फिर आप एक्सेप्ट नहीं करें, फिर आप केवल वो एक्सेप्ट करें जो आप एक्सेप्ट करना चाहते हो।
तो स्विच ऑफ कैसे करते हो माइंड को?
स्विच ऑफ होता ही नहीं है, माइंड तो कभी स्विच ऑफ हो ही नहीं सकता। इट जस्ट एक्सपैंड्स इटसेल्फ एंड दैट कैन ओनली हैपन व्हेन you accept things as they are and as they are not. When you are not choosing, when you are not judging, then what happens is like a leela. It's like something is happening and you are also dancing, and then you opt not to dance anymore. Have a cup of tea and then go again with those energies to be with that leela. And leela is so big that it is not happening because of you. It is happening. You choose to participate and you don't choose to participate. But as far as you are choosing, you are dancing.
It is easier said than done for a lot of people. आप इतने आराम से कह रहे हो, बट ये जो सेल्फ कॉन्शियसनेस होती है ना, कि बहुत लोग सेल्फ कॉन्शियस होते हैं, मैं भी बहुत सेल्फ कॉन्शियस बचपन से रहा हूँ एंड आई हैव बीन वर्किंग ऑन इट। तो ये जो होती है ये आपको होल्ड करती है कहीं ना कहीं। तो आप कभी सेल्फ कॉन्शियस नहीं थे? वो इनोसेंस थी, बचपन से ही ऐसी ग्रूमिंग हुई, या इसको कल्टिवेट किया, कैसे हुआ ये?
So it's a very deep question. You have to understand at two levels. One, what you have to understand is what is happening right now and what has happened in your childhood. So the first thing, let's talk about today.
Right.
So when you say that जो self consciousness है, वो तो एक outside phenomenon है ना. It is happening outside you. हमें लगता है कि it is happening inside us because it's consciousness. If it is consciousness, then how can it happen through the eyes of the people?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's basically, sorry to interrupt you, it's conscious. I am conscious of a model of self that I have created in my head, and now I'm trying to live up to it because I feel through my societal childhood conditioning that that model of the self is acceptable. Am I right in saying that?
I think what you said is bang on. This is how our mind works. But I just want to add one very small thing in what you said, that conditioning is something which is created by something which is outside phenomena.
True that.
But the problem is that is not in somebody creating in your mind. Something is not even the problem is not even you living that. The problem is you clinging to it. What has happened outside will keep happening.
With that awareness कि ये तो बाहर का है.
ये तो
This
बाहर
is
का
not
है.
who I am. This is not part of me.
It's not just us, but the problem is clinging to it. We cling to a certain self-image of ours.
How do you let go of it?
You don't let go.
Exactly. There is doing in both, even in clinging and in letting go.
It takes effort, So be effortless.
Effortless.
Let it happen. Actually, the whole life lives in only two things. It's like two shores, and there is a life which is flowing. The one is
A thin line.
not just a thin line. It's a very, very vibrant, flowing, which is called life.
Dancing river. So we were talking about the mind, and you said that the mind never switches off. And
No,
the
so
thing is
I-
about just observing the mind, if that is what my understanding is, and not getting trapped in the commentary of the mind, because the commentary of the mind, you are saying, is external to who you are. It has come from a conditioning of the outside, and you have created an image of yourself. And if you listen to it, you are just trying to uphold something outside of you, something that you are not. And that is the biggest blasphemy of who you are. I think that is a religious sacrilege, if I can put it in those words. So just
So I'll just simplify our conversation here. I'm saying this whole Leela, the whole Maya of things happening outside you would keep happening. The only choice you are left with is to cling to something or not to cling.
sure.
The things you're not clinging to, you become witness to it, and it dies down by its own. Because one thing is for sure, that there is an impermanence in everything.
True.
It cannot be permanent. Even your anger, at that moment, that looks like the most important thing. But if you cling to anger, you are angry. Then, if you're not clinging to anger, the anger has happened. It has not happened to you. Anger has happened, and it'll die down if you'll not, take it in your own swabhava.
Sure. So theoretically, this is fine. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have read this at a lot of places. Mentally, I understand this.
Yeah.
But for somebody like me, someone listening to us, आपके एक्सपीरियंस से कि क्या ऐसा ज़िंदगी में हुआ जिससे ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आई, या बचपन की ग्रूमिंग में क्या ऐसा था जिससे ये अनुभव में एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आई, और जो लफ्ज़ आप बोल रहे हो, these can be mere words for someone.
Yeah.
But if it is a lived reality for you, how did those words get integrated into you?
So, I would not be shy to tell you there is no one incident. And if you say that it has happened to me, it is also not true, because it is happening even now.
Sure.
So, when it is happening, I don't want to claim that I am consciously trying to put a lot of effort.
Sure.
But there is something which has given me more happiness, and that is to be more playful.
Sure.
That being playful in everything gives you a quality of not judging too much.
Sure.
When you're playing with somebody, you're not thinking he's a good batsman, he's a good fielder.
Yeah.
You're playing.
For the sake of playing, you're playing. You're just.
Because when you're playing, you become play sometimes. And that expands you in a way that you want to be in that state of play. So, but on the other hand, there are people who are seeing you on the television, on their mobile screens, and then they're judging. He has not taken the catch. It was a bad shot. But it is easier for people who are just watching and sitting on sidelines to judge. But when you are in the play, either you are playing so heartedly that it transcends into being a play itself. And that's where everything changes in your being, and then your whole being wants to be a play all the time. So being playful may seem like an action, but when you experience the play itself, then there's no looking
it's a
back.
being.
Yeah,
It's the
then
being.
it's being.
Yeah.
So I want to give you a differentiation about it. Look, Prab, ego is inevitable. क्योंकि वो आपके अस्तित्व का जो सृजन है वो ईगो से है. लेकिन ईगो है कहाँ? सो आई हैव स्पेंट decades of my life, a last decade in my life, only to find where the ego is. So it was easier for me to understand where the ego is not. The ego is not when you're playful. That's what we discussed. But then I have to also find
when you're playful in action.
When you're playful in action, there is no ego. But then where the ego is, that was my question. I gathered and understood long back that ego is not when I'm playful. Ego is not when I'm in action. Ego is not when it is happening to me. But where the ego is was a very difficult thing to understand, and I have cracked it.
Wow. Bring it on.
It is so easy for us to realize that ego doesn't live in present.
Sure.
But it lives either in the past or in the future. How? The past is all about what I have done so far, what has happened to me in my past, what I was in the past, brings a lot of ego. And what I will be, what is going to happen, what ambition I have gives you ego. But in present there is action. In action there is no ego. Because it is happening to you.
Makes me think of my Dharamshala stories. That how often, and sorry to interrupt you there, I just couldn't keep myself. Like how often, the 3 years I lived in Dharamshala, I can just feel what you're saying. I think I experienced most of it, if not all of it, in my own worldview. जो आप गेम प्ले की बात कर रहे हो कि हम सेग्रीगेशन जो माइंड में करते हैं ना, ये काम है, इसको सही करना बड़ा इम्पॉर्टेंट है, और उसके अराउंड जो स्ट्रेस बन जाता है, वर्सेस जैसे एक बच्चा होता है, उसके लिए घर में गेस्ट आए वो भी गेम है, उसके लिए एग्ज़ाम हो तब भी गेम है, उसके लिए खाना खाना भी गेम है. जो एडल्ट है वो खाने में इनक्रॉस्ड है, वो 1.5 घंटा, वो 10 मिनट में खा लेगा. बच्चा उसके साथ 1.5 घंटा खेलेगा, एक्सप्लोर करेगा, एक एक उसका पहलू निचोड़ देगा. दैट इज व्हाट आई एक्सपीरियंस्ड.
Why does that happen? Let's talk about this child.
I think that child is completely drowned in the experience of the now. वो तो इस हद तक उसमें भीगा हुआ है, और उसमें भीगने से उसको इतना मज़ा आ रहा है, और खूबसूरत बारिश नाव में तो सभी जगह हो रही है. एक बच्चे को जैसे कहते हैं ना, इन्हें तो हर जगह कुछ ना कुछ खेलने को मिल जाता है. तो दैट प्रूव्स कि प्रेजेंट में मैं कहीं भी हूँ, किसी के साथ भी हूँ, किसी भी दशा में हूँ, खूबसूरती सब जगह है. बट जब मैं प्रेजेंट से डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाता हूँ, मैं उस खूबसूरती से वंचित हो जाता हूँ, फिर मैं कहता हूँ यार कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. गड़बड़ कहीं नहीं हुआ, मैं बस टूट गया उस प्रेजेंट से, उस कनेक्शन.
इस स्टेट को ना प्रब मैं एम्बिशन की तरह देखता हूँ. एम्बिशन इज परसीव्ड एज समथिंग बिगर टू बी अचीव्ड. No, ambition could mean anything. Even to eat your food is an ambition. There's an ambition to eat it fast.
Because you are already looking in the future कि मैंने खाना खत्म कर दिया है, अब आगे मैं ये करना है.
Absolutely. You're not with the food.
तो इस चीज़ को बैलेंस कैसे करते हैं वो, कि जब आपकी कुछ प्लान्ड एक्टिविटीज़ भी हैं, स्ट्रक्चर टू द डे भी है, कुछ गोल्स टू अकम्प्लिश भी हैं, बट एट द सेम टाइम to stay drenched in the present moment. How do you balance this versus just getting lost in the present moment and losing sight of you had some deliverables, some responsibility to external people and parties? उसको कैसे balance करते हो?
So, if this would have been an art, it would have been documented and people would have made even this as robotic.
How to do this?
That's why it has never been captured. It could never be captured in words. It could be felt. And you know, the easiest thing to start with is do everything Be more robotic. If you really want to be robotic, let's do everything with a smile first. When you smile, there is an expansion which happens in your whole being.
True.
And you approach that with more expanded self.
True.
When that happens to you, then you're not restricted to only a very concentrated future, a concentrated work to be achieved. Then your actions are expanded to evolve you in every way possible, even while eating. So let's do a small thing. Eat how you eat and eat after smiling. Look at the food, smile, and it may be 1 second, it could be 1 minute. But just smile at the food. Look at how a cucumber is smiling back on you.
Wow.
And you will feel. I won't be shy to say there was a time when I used to see all cucumbers. You know, my mother used to give me 4 pieces of cucumber, right? Putting lemon and some salt on it, and she would give it to me. When I look at it, it used to be like, how come he has so many teeth? He's looking back to me.
Wow.
How could it be that a टमाटर जो है वो इतना लाल कैसे है? वो लाल इसलिए नहीं है कि उसको लाल पसंद है.
क्योंकि वो खुश है.
Add something, a beauty, the happiness it gives you inside. He chose being red as vibrant to you to be vibrant. He's expanded himself to have people more vibrant with the color and the texture when you eat that.
तो अगर मैं इसको थोड़ा सा अपने वर्ड्स में डालूं, तो what you're saying is have certain rituals, if you will, which flick the switch before you do something, versus just going on from one task to the other robotically, losing sight and awareness of who you are and what the purpose of all of this is. This is a game, grand game after all, and you have to be joyful. Just have any ritual, flick the switch, ground yourself back, and then do it. And that flick of a switch will help you admire whatever is in front of you. उसको आप admire कर पाओगे तो उससे connect कर पाओगे. जो connection उसके साथ आपका है उसको आप देख पाओगे. एंड जब आप कनेक्शन से किसी के साथ काम करोगे, मान लो अगर मेरा बड़ा अच्छा फ्रेंड है, बड़ा अच्छा कनेक्शन है, तो मुझे वही बात समझाने में 1 सेकंड लगेगा, वर्सेस जो मुझे लगे यार ये तो बड़ा औखा बंदा है, ये फलाना है टमकाना है, उसको मैं समझाने से पहले ही मैं डर जाऊंगा.
In fact, you have not answered yourself. In fact, you have again got into a bigger trap.
Oh shit.
The trap is of ritual. Any ritual confines you. Ritual is nothing but a mind game.
It's a mind game.
If it is a mind game, how can it help you expand? What is mind?
But as long as, let's say, somebody is at that level.
Yeah. In any level. Any ritual.
And you get stuck in it. वो भी एक. फिर उसके बाद क्या होता है कि आप रिचुअल छोड़ नहीं सकते. आप छोड़ोगे तो आपको लगेगा अरे अब तो सब गड़बड़ हो जाएगा.
अब सब.
वाह, ये तो नानक वाली बातें कर रहे हो आप.
The ritual
This is exactly what Nanak shook everybody कि सबको छोड़ो, सब तेरे पास ही है, बस उसको देख, उसको महसूस कर इसी नाव में. That's what you're saying.
I am just saying a very simple thing. Keep it very simple. If you're not cling to anything, just don't cling to anything and don't judge anything. These are the 2 very beautiful things which will happen to you, and make it happen. Let it happen. So I was telling you, we got cut in between, that the life lives in 2 shores. Making it happen and letting it happen. You have to choose which shore you want to see the river. It seems the same river. It may be the same river, but you look at them in a very different way altogether. Don't try to make it happen. Be in an ecstasy of letting it happen and be a part of that. Because that's the only way life is. Life doesn't respond to you the way you want. It is already responding in the way it has planned itself. It is flowing in its own way. But are you accepting it, or you want to give turns to them? You want to see that the speed of it has to be governed by you. You want to see how much it does to me. When it is beyond you and you are in an environment where things are happening and you are a part of it, it's a very different feeling, and it is very simple as a drop who's very, celebrated being a drop, and everybody is experiencing and understanding that what a beautiful droplet it is on the leaf. And suddenly it goes into a ocean. Then the drop of a droplet may feel insecure of letting go itself, or it can think that I have become an ocean. So making it happen and letting it happen exactly is a story of a droplet which has its own identity till the time it has not submerged itself into an ocean. But what a life becoming an ocean. Being a part of that large divine plan which it wants you to expand yourself. And that's what the whole universe has taught us, expansion. Expansion of becoming larger than who we are. And that can only happen when you don't have anything cling to. If that droplet would have clung to becoming who it is, it would have never understood the expanse of being in an ocean or becoming ocean itself. Now I want to give you something controversial. So when a drop says that getting into an ocean that I have become ocean, the truth is also the reverse of it. That the drop itself is an ocean. It's not the drop which goes into ocean becomes ocean. No, a drop from the ocean itself is an ocean. So there should not be any, differentiation between the two. And that can only happen when you've already become an ocean. You can never feel an ocean being in a one drop till the time you have let go to be an ocean.
एक तरह से आपने सारे सवाल ख़त्म कर दिए हैं, एटलीस्ट इस मोमेंट में. और आई थिंक दिस इज़ अ सिग्नेचर ऑफ अ साइलेंट माइंड, क्योंकि माइंड के पास बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन हैं, बहुत सारी कंप्लेंट्स हैं, और उसी फैशन में कभी कभी बहुत सारी एक्साइटमेंट भी है. तो उन क्वेश्चंस का वो खुद आंसर भी ढूंढना चाहता है. पर जो आपने बातें पिछले 2-3 मेरे सवाल होने के बाद आपने बोली हैं, इट जस्ट फील्स दैट इट फिनिशेस ऑल क्वेश्चंस, कि सवाल है ही नहीं कोई. ये इल्यूजन ही है एक तरीके का, क्योंकि आंसर तो यही है हियर एंड नाउ में. इट इज़ मी हु हैज़ टू एक्सेप्ट इट. तो वो कहीं ना कहीं से एक अंदर से ही एक्सेप्टेंस है डीपर, विच कैन रियलाइज कि डोंट रन आफ्टर दीज क्वेश्चंस, जस्ट बी एंड बी सिक्योर, बी सेफ, बी कॉन्फिडेंट. जैसे आपने कहा कि यार तुम सोचते तुम बूंद तो हो, साथ में समुद्र भी हो, तो कोई बात ही नहीं है, चक्कर ही नहीं है कोई.
लेकिन मेरे को आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछना, ये क्वेश्चन आते कहाँ से?
माइंड से
है क्या माइंड? माइंड क्यों क्वेश्चन करता है?
क्यों क्वेश्चन करता है? माइंड इसीलिए क्वेश्चन करता है क्योंकि आई थिंक द माइंड इज डिजाइन्ड सच कि इट इज नॉट, if I can say, into feeling the here and now holistically, just looking at things in parts and trying to put the jigsaw puzzle together by understanding each part. But वो कभी possible ही नहीं है.
मेरे को पता है क्या लगता है? ये सीक्रेट है मेरा. मुझे लगता है माइंड केवल वो क्वेश्चंस पूछता है जिसके उसके पास आंसर होते हैं. उसके पास आंसर है ही नहीं, वो उसको क्वेश्चन नहीं करता.
Elaborate that.
Mind is nothing but a repetitive pattern and a permutation and combination of your own thoughts and experience it has already experienced. So what it does, it puzzles you by creating questions for which it already has an answer, so that you're always busy in finding, thinking, and feel busy and important about it. However, your being asks,
तो वो यही कर रहा है कि मेरे को ऑलरेडी आंसर तो पता है,
हाँ.
मैं खुद ही से क्वेश्चन पूछ के आंसर भी दे दूंगा,
अपने को
क्योंकि मैं आंसर दे दूंगा तो मैं खुश हो जाऊंगा, आई फील इम्पोर्टेंट, सेल्फ इम्पोर्टेंट.
ये बहुत बड़ा ट्रैप
वो
है.
कभी उस एज से बाहर वाला सवाल नहीं पूछेगा.
कभी नहीं पूछेगा.
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सपेक्टिव.
मेरा माइंड तो मेरे से अच्छे क्वेश्चंस कभी पूछता ही नहीं यार.
जैसे एक बच्चा पूछता है,
जैसे एक बच्चा,
विच आर रियली क्यूरियस क्वेश्चन.
जब वो पूछता है कि ये पत्ता ग्रीन क्यों है पापा, अंकल हमें ब्लू कलर का ही क्यों दिखता है आसमान. मेरे माइंड ने तो नहीं पूछा था जब तक मुझे पता नहीं था यार. और जिस दिन मुझे पता लग गया, मुझे बार बार उसका परम्यूटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन बताने में मज़ा आता है, ताकि मैं अपने को रेलिवेंट बनाकर रखूँ,
सेल्फ इम्पोर्टेंट बनाकर.
So the real questions are not those who are questions. Questions are only comes to you when you already know what the answer could be. The real life is of inquiry.
Wow.
And inquiry comes from two things. One is innocence, and the second most important thing is intuition, which is nothing but inner tuition, which guides you to the newer areas which has never been explored. So that inner tuition doesn't need mind. It has a subtle voice, which is a rhythm of your life, and it also inquires. Why it inquires? So that it expands you, not repeat with you.
Wow.
So if somebody wants to hear and being on that path of inquiry, start listening to that subtle sound within inside, and which also tutors you as your inner tuition, which we call intuitive being, you know.
तो you're saying inner tuition, वो
Inner
अपना अंदर का ट्यूटर है.
हाँ,
तो कहीं ना कहीं गुरबानी में इसको गुरु कहा जा रहा है.
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल कहा जा रहा है.
तो ये बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग आपने बात बोली है, एंड आई एम रियली एंजॉयिंग दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन. तो ये जो इंट्यूशन और इंक्वायरी की आपने बात की और माइंड की कि कैसे फूल करता है हमें, एंड इट विल आस्क अस ओनली दोज क्वेश्चंस द आंसर्स ऑफ व्हिच वी ऑलरेडी नो. So do you think that there is a role of the education system, how children are educated from the word go, in desensitizing that intuition, or are there ways to preserve and nurture that intuition? What do you think about the state of the education system in terms of what we are discussing?
So, very, very deep question. If you're reflecting this whole conversation from an education point of view, there are very few people who could understand that our education system is again creating mind. A mind which has happened in the past. And hundreds of experience, hundreds of information are being manipulated in one way or the other to present itself in newer forms.
And look at the exam format. It is the same. Ask questions, the answers to which you already know. And those who can answer those questions, the answers they already know are given good marks.
Very well
which
said.
is nurturing the mind.
Very well said, bro. How about having inquiry-based education? You know, inquiry could only happen when there is joyfulness, playfulness. Only a joyful, playful mind, not mind, playful beings, joyful beings can inquire. Then they are not listening to their mind, because they are listening to their intuition, their inner tuition, which is telling them to ask.
Wow.
Why do we always paint the bricks. Bricks itself is such beautiful red color. Why do we burn these bricks? Why can't it be used, made through soil, and not burn even a one brick before we make our house? Why do we only make houses in a certain way? And that's the mind who's inquiring. Why? Because they want to expand. The biggest problem of our education system is we are teaching children not to expand. We are teaching them to be perfect in the past. The whole education is in the past. The past, which has already happened, somebody has proven that this is how an assembly line works. So you start learning this is how an assembly line works. And thus you become, rather than creating a new system which may abolish the whole assembly line. It's a manufacturing way of education. It is not a creativity which has been indulged in.
So you're completely raising a question on the way education is done right now, at least in India.
Not just in India. In fact, these form of education which is not inquiry led has been packaged in one way or the other. The real education is letting things happen and be participative in that. Like, for example, in the morning I was interacting with 20 kids and I asked them, what makes you happy? They said, what makes us happy is to play. So I said, what about subjects? They said, it doesn't take much to just, repeat ourselves in what has been written in our books to be written in the examination. It doesn't take too much of time.
No fun, no curiosity,
No curiosity.
no fading of the inner tuition.
Yeah.
Only the outer tuition.
Yeah,
it comes
only
back to where you started. That self is coming from the outside.
Yeah.
So now I'll take it like a segue.
Yeah.
How this transpired in your own journey. We were talking the other day about कि आपने एजुकेशन ख़त्म करने के बाद 2.5 साल ट्रैवल किया जस्ट टू फिगर आउट कि एजुकेशन कैसी कर रहा है, कोई किसी के पास मॉडल है तो वो क्या है. तो उस समय क्या हुआ था, लाइक क्या लगा आपको कि एजुकेशन की दशा ख़राब है और ये कैसे लगा कि मैं ठीक कर दूंगा उसे?
पहली बात तो मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं कि एजुकेशन की दशा खराब है. मुझे हमेशा ये बताया गया थ्रू आउट माई एजुकेशन कि मेरी दशा बहुत खराब है. तो मैं निकला केवल अपनी दशा ठीक करने. मुझे कुछ नहीं पड़ी थी कि मैं एजुकेशन में काम करूँ. मुझे कुछ नहीं पड़ी थी कि मेरा देश कैसा होगा. मेरी कोई स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी नहीं थी. मेरी बड़ी सेल्फिश जर्नी थी. मैं जानना चाहता था कोई मेरे लिए एजुकेशन बनी है जिसमें मेरी दशा ठीक हो जाए, क्योंकि मुझे हर किसी ने बताया कि तेरी दशा बड़ी ख़राब है. मेरे रिजल्ट कार्ड ने बताया, मेरे टीचर्स ने बताया, मेरे फ्रेंड्स ने मुझे बताया, मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे बताया कि मेरी दशा बहुत ख़राब है. तो मैं उनसे हमेशा पूछता था, पर मैं तो आप पर ही डिपेंडेंट हूँ. आपने मुझे क्लास में पढ़ाया, मैं एग्ज़ाम देकर आया, मेरे ख़राब नंबर आए. मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे जो जैसे पैदा करा, मैं आज भी अपनी मदर से, अपने फादर से कहता हूँ कि मैं कौन होता हूँ, आप मुझे कहते हो मैं अच्छा हूँ और मैं खराब हूँ. मुझे तो हमेशा लगता है ये आपके पैरामीटर्स हैं, क्योंकि आपने मुझे बनाया अच्छा खराब. मेरे से तो किसी ने पूछा ही नहीं कि मैं कैसे अच्छा हो सकता हूँ और मैं कैसे खराब हो सकता हूँ. मेरे पैरामीटर्स क्या हैं जो ये डिफाइन करते हैं कि मैं कैसे अच्छा हूँ, मैं खराब.
सब थोपा गया. मेरे
को थोपा ही नहीं गया. मेरे एक लाल कलर, मेरे चश्मों के ऊपर कभी लाल कलर की पन्नी लगा दी किसी ने नीले रंग का रंग लगा दिया और कहा इससे देख तो तुझे पता लग जाएगा. मेरा अपना दृष्टिकोण कहाँ था प्रभ? वो तो बना ही नहीं भाई. तो मैं गया. फिर जब मैंने अपना कॉलेज कंप्लीट करा, मैंने अपना MBA करा, तो मेरे पास बड़ा इजी रास्ता था कि मैं एक कॉर्पोरेट में चला जाऊं और वहाँ पे धीरे धीरे जो मेरे से एक्सपेक्ट किया जाता है, आज इतने डिजिट सैलरी, आज उतने डिजिट सैलरी, और सबको खुश रखूं. और एक ये था कि मैं जानूं कि मैं अपनी दशा और दिशा कैसे निर्धारित करूं. तो मैं पहले तो दशा ढूंढता रहा अपनी, और मैंने समझने की कोशिश करी ऐसे कौन से इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं जो इस ऐसे बच्चों की भी दशा को ठीक कर सकते हैं।
आपकी फैमिली ने इनकरेज किया?
कभी भी नहीं करा। उनके लिए एक बहुत नया आयाम था, एक बड़ी नई एस्पेक्ट था उसको एक्सेप्ट करना, लेकिन उन्होंने कभी डिस्करेज भी नहीं करा। एनकरेज कभी नहीं करा, लेकिन डिस्करेज नहीं करा। आई थिंक डिस्करेज ना करना ही बहुत बड़ा एनकरेजमेंट था। और मुझे आज भी लगता है कि एनकरेजमेंट एंड डिस्करेजमेंट दोनों ही बड़ी गड़बड़ चीज़ें हैं।
ट्रू।
आपने अगर अपनी पेरेंटिंग में आपको इतना विश्वास है तो फिर आप अपने बच्चे को वो करने दो ना जो वो करना चाहता है। केवल आप
इस पे थोड़ा बोलो कि इनकरेजमेंट कैसे गड़बड़ है, क्योंकि बहुत लोग इसमें हैं कि आजकल पेरेंटिंग के लिए भी कहा जाता है कि बच्चा कुछ करे तो उसको इनकरेज करो, शाबाशी दो। तो इनकरेजमेंट में क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
एक दिन क्या हुआ, 2 बच्चों को उनके फादर्स साइकिल चलाना सिखा रहे थे। मैं वहाँ पार्क में बैठा हुआ था, कुछ बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट काम था और मैं उसमें स्टक हुआ था। तो मैंने सोचा कि पार्क में जाकर लेट्स नॉट डू एनीथिंग फॉर कपल ऑफ आवर्स। तो मैं बैठा हुआ देख रहा था, दोनों के फादर्स उनको साइकिल चलाना सिखा रहे थे। एक बच्चा उसको धक्का देते थे, वो पैडल मारता था और वो 4 पैडल मारता था और पीछे देखने लगता था। वेरी गुड वेरी गुड। फिर बच्चा फिर 2 पैडल मारता था, फिर पीछे देखता। उधर एक दूसरा बच्चा था जिसके फादर उसको धक्का देते थे और वो चलाता था और पूरे पार्क का चक्कर काट कर आता था और अपने पापा को ही नहीं देखता था, फिर दूसरे चक्कर पे चला जाता था। उस दिन मुझे बहुत बड़ा रियलाइजेशन हुआ। एक बच्चे के लिए उसके फादर का एप्रिसिएशन ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट था साइकिल चलाने से, और एक बच्चे का ना साइकिल चलाना इंपॉर्टेंट था और ना एप्रिसिएशन। वो उस मोमेंट को पूरी तरह जी रहा था, साइकिल चलाने लगा। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जब हम एप्रिशिएट करते हैं ना, तो हम केवल वो एक्सपैंड कर पाते हैं जो हमने एक्सपीरियंस करा है, और हम दूसरे को वैसे ही एक्सपैंड करने के तरीके बताते हैं,
कॉपी बनाते हैं उसको।
और जैसे ही हम उसको एक केवल अपना रास्ता दिखाकर और उसको बताते हैं कि एक ही रास्ता नहीं है, तेरा जो रास्ता है वो तेरा रास्ता है, मेरा जो रास्ता था वो मेरा रास्ता था। हाँ, मैं तुझे पुश तो कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन मैं हर टाइम खड़ा होकर तालियां नहीं बजा सकता। दैट मेक्स अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस।
तो आप कैसे करते हो अपने बच्चों के साथ? लेट्स से रेवा कभी कुछ कुक करके लेके आती है, नो शी इज़ वेरी, हर चीज़ एक्सप्लोर करती है, वो बड़ी प्यारी बच्ची, तो कुछ बना के लाती है बड़ा स्वाद सा, तो यू डोंट अप्रिशिएट?
मैं एग्जैक्टली वो बताता हूँ जो मुझे लगता है। कल की बात है, रात को उसने मेरे को एक टी शर्ट लेकर आई और उसने कहा पापा देखो ये मैंने पेंट करी है पूरी टी शर्ट। अरे बड़ी भाई याद करी है। कहती व्हाट डू यू मीन? आई सेड आई मीन दिस। मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा ये हाथी बना हुआ है। कहती नहीं ये बंदर है। आई सेड मुझे तो कहीं से बंदर नहीं लग रहा, क्योंकि मुझे बंदर नहीं लग रहा था।
तो इसमें बहुत लोग ये भी कहते हैं यार कि अगर मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ बहुत वाहियात लगी, तो वो तुम्हारा पर्सपेक्टिव है ना, उसके लिए तो बहुत खूबसूरत हो सकती है।
इसीलिए ना, अब जब मुझे वाहियात लगी तो वो उसको डिफेंड करा ना उसने कि मैंने ऐसे बनाया और पापा आपको आता ही नहीं है। अगर मैं अपने बच्चे को ये फ्रीडम नहीं देता कि वो मुझे वाहियात बोल सके, तो मैं उसको वाहियात नहीं कह सकता।
तो ये एक आपने एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट कर दी कि मैं अपना ओपिनियन दे रहा हूँ और यू हैव द राइट टू योर ओपिनियन।
देख यार प्रभ, इन आफ्टर over 20 years of experience into education transformation in India, which I have worked. I sit on the boards of a lot of ministries and state machineries. I have understood one very clear definition of education, and I want to tell you that. Look, education is nothing which creates children who can stand on their feet and think their own thought process. Is can only be facilitated through education. So it is very important to give education which makes people think on their feet. But this is half of the story. The other half, and the most important half of the story and the role of education, is to create children who are fearless in articulating what they are thinking. And that one of the most important thing is when you are being authentic with them.
Wow.
So, two things: thinking on their feet and articulating it fearlessly is the only measurable result of education.
So what you are saying is कि इसमें फिर पेरेंट्स का तो ह्यूज अनबिलीवेबली ह्यूज रोल है. अगर मैं एज अ पेरेंट खुद अनग्राउंडेड हूँ, मेरे को एंगर इश्यूज हैं, एंड यू आर सेइंग बीइंग ऑथेंटिक, और मेरा बच्चा कुछ करता है, मैं उस पर शाउट करूँ, एंग्री हूँ, क्रिटिसाइज करूँ, उसको जज करूँ कि तो यार तेरे को तो कुछ आता नहीं है, कंपेयर करूँ, उसको देखो, या तू बेवकूफ़, लाइक टैग द चाइल्ड, दैट कैन नॉट वर्क.
एक्चुअली हमें लग रहा है हम वो बच्चे के लिए कर रहे हैं, हम बच्चे को कह रहे हैं. एक्चुअली ऐसा सच्चाई नहीं है यार. आप अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस को डिफरेंट तरीके से एक्सप्रेस कर रहे हो.
बट बच्चे को तो इफेक्ट करेगा.
बच्चे की बाद में बात करेंगे.
Alright.
पहले अपनी बात करते हैं. आप अगर कंपेयर कर रहे हो तो आप कंपेयर हुए हो कहीं पर, इसीलिए आप उसको कंपेयर
कर रहे हो, वही रिपीट कर रहे हो.
अगर आप उससे ऑथेंटिकली शेयर नहीं कर पा रहे क्योंकि आपके साथ किसी ने ऑथेंटिकली शेयर नहीं करा, या आपको कभी वो स्पेस नहीं मिला जहां आप ऑथेंटिकली विदाउट फियर आप कह पाओ. माय चिल्ड्रन थ्रोज माय t-shirt saying, "Papa, how can you wear such a thing?" And they're very open about it. They don't have any fear of calling spade and spade, ever. Not because I told them, because there was an environment at home where I could not tell my father anything. I may have respected him because of fear, not because of love.
क्यों नहीं आप उनको कुछ कह पाते जैसे रेवा आपको कह पाती?
क्योंकि there was he never asked for it. Like for example, when
उन्होंने एनवायरनमेंट नहीं दिया, वो स्पेस नहीं दिया,
absolutely.
तो दैट मीन्स आप अपने बच्चों को दे रहे हो ऐसा स्पेस और एनवायरनमेंट.
बिल्कुल.
सो पेरेंट्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल है रही.
सो केवल पेरेंट्स का ही नहीं है प्रॉब्लम. बच्चा जब बाहर जाता है ना, तो उसको अगर एम्पैथी से सपोर्ट नहीं किया गया तो कहीं ना कहीं स्कार्स लेकर आता है, और वो स्कार्स ना पेरेंट्स उसको ठीक नहीं कर सकता. वो सोसाइटी का बहुत बड़ा रोल है. इसीलिए मैं हमेशा फील करता है कि स्कूल्स आर नॉट द बेस्ट इंस्टीट्यूशंस टू गिव एजुकेशन.
So you're saying जो भी environment है, उनके पेरेंट्स हैं, उनके रिश्तेदार हैं, उनके टीचर्स हैं, ये इन्वायरमेंट बनाता है. और ये एक एम्पैथेटिक नर्चरिंग इन्वायरमेंट होनी पड़ेगी जहाँ पे हम स्पेस देते हैं बच्चे को ऑथेंटिक होने के लिए, जो वो फील करता है उसको एक्सप्रेस करने के लिए. अगर कुछ अच्छा लगा है, बुरा लगा है, तो वो उसको बोल सकते
फियरलेसली. यस. तो
आप जब उस पर वापस आए, हम 2.5 साल जब घूमे, तो क्या देखा आपने? क्या व्हाट वर द लर्निंग्स, व्हाट वर द चैलेंज, क्या ऑब्जर्व क्या किया?
पर मेरे को लगा कि इस देश की एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, वो है पॉपुलेशन. तो अगर एक टीचर 40 मिनट के पीरियड में 40 बच्चे को केटर करती है, तो वो जस्टिफाई कर ही नहीं सकती एजुकेशन. जैसे ही आप उसको कम करते हो तो वो एक्सपेंस इतना तो ज़्यादा हो जाता है, एक्सपेंसिव हो जाता है कि हर कोई उसे अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता. दूसरी बात, हमारे को टीचर्स को कभी डिग्निटी दी नहीं गई इस देश के अंदर कभी, मतलब पिछले 50 सालों में, जहां वो अपने को इवॉल्व कर पाते हैं. वो भी अपने सर्वाइवल के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, तो उन्होंने भी अपने आप को एक्सपैंड नहीं करा. So it's lot of areas on which, you know, I realize that there is a huge empathy issues, and as you rightly said that the parents are missing in education. They have a very important role, one of the most important roles, but they are missing.
क्योंकि यहाँ तो अभी ऐसे है ना कि बच्चा पैदा कर दिया, अब वो पल जाएगा, बस
पल जाएगा,
विदाउट एनी अवेयरनेस. जो मैं हूँ मैं वही रहूँगा. मैं विदाउट एनी अवेयरनेस ऑफ मैं बच्चे को क्या इन्वायरमेंट दे रहा हूँ, कौन सी मूवी दिखा रहा हूँ. मैं तो देखता हूँ, हम मूवी देखने अगर कहीं जाते हैं, इतने इतने छोटे छोटे बच्चों को लोग पेरेंट्स लेके आते हैं विदाउट एनी सेंसिटिविटी कि उसका कंटेंट क्या है, उसमें मर्डर हो रहे हैं, और इतना छोटा सा बच्चा देख रहा है. तो ये अगर हम अवेयरनेस नहीं होगी तो बच्चे के अंदर तो वो सब कुछ जाएगा.
आई एग्री. सो मैंने बहुत सारी बूढ़ी अम्माओं को, ताइयों को, चाचियों को कहते सुना, बच्चे तो ऐसे पल ही जाते हैं.
बट दैट एनवायरनमेंट वाज डिफरेंट. पहले जब ये बात कही जाती
नहीं,
थी,
but the environment, how environment was different? I don't know.
जब
Don't
पहले
you have lot of complaints with your own parents?
आई वुडंट से कंप्लेंट्स, हाँ मैं एग्री करूँगा कंप्लेंट से शुरू हुई, बट मैंने उनको अपने लिए रिजॉल्व कर लिया है, क्योंकि आई एम एबल टू सी व्हाट यू आर सेइंग कि इट वाज नो फॉल्ट ऑफ देयर्स, इट वाज देयर ओन अपब्रिंगिंग, देयर ओन कंडीशन, जो आप कह रहे हो कि पहले भी ऐसी था. तो
So मेरे को ऐसा लगता है that generation by generation we are getting better and we are getting better parents as well.
बेटर पेरेंट,
However, you can't break conditioning because it is deep rooted.
इट इज डीप रूट.
Everybody wants to be parents without knowing being a parent, what is the real meaning of parent, because
meaning of
there is
parent.
no way our society teaches good parenting. The children who cracks IITs, their parents are looked much above in the society than the ones whose children are doing creating
Some-
community toilets.
तो
So if a child from a village says, no, I hate when my mother, my sisters, my aunties go and they have to use places which are so unhygienic and they can't go in the broad daylight, and I want to devote my entire life for creating community toilets, whether he's successful or not, but that's his aspiration. Versus an aspiration of a person who says, I want to create an AI chat bot which helps you understand the right kinds of fashion and how you look great in doing that. They will always be seen in different ways. I'm not saying there's anything wrong creating an AI chat bot for new fashion trends.
बट ये
But why there is a
differentiation-
judgment between
जो
the
है,
two
ये-
aspirations? I have a problem not with the society and the conditioning. I don't have a problem. I have a problem with a lot of judgments around it.
which comes from the society and
So
condition.
it does. But once you will have a very non-judgmental society, it gives you more
Yeah.
space for creativity. Because then there is no taboos or there is no stigmas attached with what you want to do and why you don't want to do.
So then, after hearing you, what I'm feeling is it is very important for whoever is on the path of conscious parenting or conscious education or conscious teaching as a teacher. We must work on creating such spaces and communities which are safe spaces for expression, sensitivity, empathy, compassion, love, and a kid can nurture in those spaces. Because if you just go out into the world randomly, तो वहाँ पे तो इन चीज़ों की कोई स्पेस ही नहीं है, इमीडिएट जजमेंट है. तो ऐसे स्पेसेस नर्चर करना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
बहुत ज़रूरी
तो मेरा सवाल ये है कि you've been in the, I think, close to the past 3 decades, if I'm not wrong.
2 decades.
2 decades. You've been working in education and you've been on the board of Ministry of Education, central government and various state governments, of Sri Aurobindo Society and abroad, so many places. Like, what role through Aurobindo Society or as personally as a visionary do you think is being played to create such spaces of sensitive growth and development in education?
So, I want to tell you that I have always valued an individual's aspiration more than an organizational aspiration. But the organization's culture gives you a great support structure in what you want to do. That's what happened to Sri Aurobindo Society. So Sri Aurobindo Society doesn't have the goals to achieve. When people come with certain aspiration, we give and create those ecosystem for them to flourish in the right aspiration, which is aligned to our Guru Sri Aurobindo. While doing that, we have always felt that Sri Aurobindo had always talked about an individual journey, and an individual aspiration has the capacity to transform the world. That's what he says. that an individual's aspiration can transform the world. Imagine the kind of power you get in an ecosystem like Sri Aurobindo, where you feel that I matter in this world because I have the right aspiration to do that. In my case, I've been little lucky. I got not just a lot of love, support, but I also got a lot of, blessings with the people who really matter. And they put me on a path where my growth was very rapid. And it is sheer blessing. It was not my skill sets, ever. But I was ready to receive, I was ready to respond. And in this journey, we felt that there are a lot of spaces which got created where people can very fearlessly come and talk about it. In fact, the most alternative schools in the country today are inspired by integral education of Sri Aurobindo.
Can you talk a little bit about integral education, what it is, for parents and listeners who are not aware about it?
Absolutely. So let me simplify that. In integral education, the biggest problem of the world and the parents is that anything and everything they do with their child's education, they try to fragment it. So something is being taught in their classroom, something is being criticized in their drawing rooms. Imagine the dichotomy. Imagine the disintegration a child is going through. A child who's been loved, taken care, and every day he has to go and meet a teacher is being criticized in their drawing room so many times. Why did she do that? Why he did that? All of it coming together sometimes creates a lot of fragmentation, disintegration in their own being from the very childhood I am talking about. So Sri Aurobindo has talked about integral, the integration of all of it. So it is not like if you are doing something great, that's the only way to the perfection. Anything in your life, any aspect of your life, doing it with sincerity, aspiration, can take you towards perfection. Any aspect. One very important thing Sri Aurobindo has talked about, that you have to work from the near to far, not the other way around. What has to be achieved and then backward integration. It is about what is there in front of you. If there are, there are birds, if there are plants, if there are, soil, then start from there towards getting to understand the universe, the earth, and where you live, even the house.
And the nearest being this very being.
For your own being. When you start to understand and listen to your own feelings, your actions, your excitement, your depression. So anything which is near to you has to be started from there so that you have connectivity and then you can expand towards the larger thing.
So this is like a completely inverted model of what conventional
education does.
Right from pre-KG, when you enter the school, you are taught about something which is completely disconnected from your immediate context, and you have to learn about it, not even by experiencing it, but looking at its picture on a book and then saying this is that and this is that. Whereas you're saying first you have to ground in who you are, and to ground in who you are, you have to first feel whatever you're feeling fully, understand those feelings, and be able to express those feelings authentically, which I believe is what you said earlier, a path to being an authentic individual. And then your authenticity will connect you as you expand outwards to your context, and then you can do something about it. Like I would like to take, for example, like today it's an internet generation. So सारे इंटरनेट पे चीज़ें देख रहे हैं, फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम, फोमो हो रहा है सबको कि वो वहाँ ट्रैवल कर रहा है, ये हो रहा है. तो मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ, आसपास बढ़िया मौसम है, मज़ेदार है, पार्क भी है, लेक भी है, पर मैं देख रहा हूँ कि यार वो बंदा यूरोप में मज़े कर रहा है, मेरी यहाँ जल रही है. तो that's an ungrounded individual.
Yeah.
When I am grounded in my authenticity, immediately I will feel my environment and I will derive joy and connect with whatever is around me and contribute by creating value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the integral education, is guided by Sri Aurobindo and Mother on very important thing where he says that nothing can be taught. Why?
Very interesting.
Because from the very beginning, you have to correlate with your child, which is complete in itself, which is perfect in itself. It is not like ये गीली मिट्टी है जिसको कुम्हार को एक शेप देनी है और उसको एक जो शेप बनकर आएगी वो दुनिया को बहुत सुंदर कुछ देकर जाएगी. ऐसा है ही नहीं. इसका कोई रोल ही नहीं है. He has always felt that it is like a seed which is complete in itself. अगर उसको environment मिलेगा तो प्रफुल्लित होगा. अगर उसको environment नहीं भी मिलेगा तो भी वो पूरी कोशिश करेगा अपने आप को फ्लेक्सिबल होकर अडेप्ट करने के लिए ताकि उसको वो एनवायरनमेंट ले जहां तक वो बहस जा सकता है. अगर आप कुछ कर सकते हो तो बस बीच में मत आओ.
तो कॉमन पार्लांस है इन माय फैमिली एंड आई हियर अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल कि यार बच्चों को क्या पता है, हम ही तो बताएंगे. जो हम बताएंगे वही तो सीखेंगे, इनको क्या पता है.
Which is completely against integral education philosophy. You have to relate to your child as an individual on its own journey as much as you are.
And by saying that, what we are essentially doing is कि जो मुझे पता है, जो मैंने क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स रटे हैं, मैं वही सेम सिखा के वही कॉपी बनाऊंगा क्योंकि इसको तो पता नहीं है, तो मुझे बताना पड़ेगा, मुझे शेप करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मेरे को क्लोन बनाना है. बट वर्सेस मी बीइंग अ फैसिलिटेटर, मी बीइंग जस्ट अ ट्रस्टी कि यार मेरे पास तो मैं तो बस फॉस्टर कर रहा हूँ इसको, इसी ने प्रफुल्लित होना है. जस्ट लाइक फॉस्टरिंग अ मैंगो ट्री इन योर बैकयार्ड. हम उसको तो कहते ही नहीं है मैंगो क्यों, अरे लीची हम पैदा करते हैं, लीची कर तू, इतना ऊंचा क्यों जा रहा है, इतना रहे, झुक के रहे. वी डोंट डू दैट. It grows and bends in whatever way it has to. And it also reflects on that mentality कि अभी लैंडस्केपिंग में भी हम ये करते हैं, हम पेड़ को भी चाहते हैं हमारे तरीके से.
So we have to start relating first to ourselves. In fact, integral education can never be taught or be in that environment who's not on the path of integral yoga. So there is no syllabus of integral education. There are only individuals on the path of integral yoga who are more playful, who are not clinging to things.
Which is a journey of life.
It's a journey of life.
Which is about education when you are at home, when you are at work, when you are playing, when you are in school, everywhere.
So I have never understood one big confusion. That
breaking things up.
Yeah, how could education be something outside life? It can only correlate itself with something which already exists. That's how it should be. It should not be anything more or less than that.
तो मुझे ये बताओ, अभी we are sitting in Sri Aurobindo School at Sector 27 in Chandigarh. So this being one of the schools run by Sri Aurobindo Society, for somebody, a parent who is sending their kids to a conventional school, और उनमें ये सेंसिटिविटी आ रही, वो कुछ करना चाहते हैं, अपने बच्चे की एजुकेशन को बेटर करना चाहते हैं, अपनी सेंसिटिविटी पे काम करना चाहते हैं, तो थ्रू द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द वर्क दैट इज बीइंग डन थ्रू योर विजन, प्रैक्टिकली जस्ट ले डाउन यहाँ पे क्या स्ट्रक्चर है, कैसे होता है, विच इज़ डिफरेंट दैन ए कन्वेंशनल स्कूल, और एंड हाउ इट aligns with what we have talked about in terms of creating a whole integrated being. वो operationally, practically, day-to-day basis में कैसे किया जाता है?
So there are 4-5 very important things which we practice without fail. Like for example, a child's voice is as important as a teacher's voice. Anything which is being said by a 4-year-old is equivalent to a 40-year-old teacher. And we are listening very consciously. Second most important thing, it is not just somebody saying something. It has to be more conscious and fearless. So we propagate a lot of fearlessness so that people can articulate what they feel. Look, at the end of the day, the truth for the child or a teacher is not what is right and wrong, it is what they are feeling. So their truth lies in their feelings. How can it be a fearful feelings being communicated? No, we want them to be more fearless.
Free expression.
Free expression. Second most important thing in our school, every chapter has at least 10 to 15 experiential learning activities backed by it. So anything they do for different kids, it's different experiential activities, and whatever works for them, they do that so that they could correlate what is being taught in the classrooms. Third most important thing, we have a lot of feed forwards as in observations. So we make sure that we meet our parents on very, very regular basis. That doesn't happen in most of the schools. And it is not just the class teacher, it is also other teachers whom they can meet. A music teacher is as important as a science teacher. A physical education instructor is as important as Hindi teacher or an English teacher. So we are making sure that the interactions build up. Third most important thing, that we give a lot of responsibility to children. Like for example, today the 9th class came and met me, and for the first time we were meeting, and I asked them what is to be done in school so that we can become better. So they said, sir, there has to be a good sports day. I said, can you create this sports day without a competition, where everybody who's participating feels evolved and participate?
You asked the students.
So they said, we can do that. I said, till the time you're not ready, don't do it. There's no time. Give yourself time till the time you envision it, and all resources will be given to you. But the sports day will be done as you want it to be done, rather than somebody telling you how it is to be done. It's your baby now. Prab, one thing which stands us out from any other education systems in the country is we try to give more time to children. You know, the time has become such a big hurdle to learning. A child who, 40-50 minutes of periods, in the classroom are too less for learning to happen. Everybody is in some kind of a race to complete the syllabus, to learn in that time. There are slow learners, there are advanced learners, there are passionate about certain subjects. There are certain children who are not passionate about that. The only thing which breaks this learning pattern in certain time is by giving them more time. Ample time for it to happen to them, rather than just, forcefully feeding them.
So do you follow a curriculum?
We do follow a curriculum. However, we do a lot of experiential learning. In fact, Sri Aurobindo Society is not just restricted to schools. We have worked with over 10,000 schools in the country to implement the new education policy, which is one of the most beautiful policies being created by India. And it has some of the best practices of the world. And we are very, very happy and proud to, as one of the leading organizations to propagate and implement the new education policy for the last 3-4 years. We work with all the Kendriya Vidyalayas in the country, all of them. All teachers are getting trained by us, all new pedagogical shifts which are happening. Like for example, one very big 2 things I want to tell you. We are in transition from rote learning to competence-based learning. And Sri Aurobindo Society is at the forefront of transitioning from rote learning to competence-based learning at scale. So we are working with thousands of schools in the country to create them as a center for excellence, so that they become tangible source for inspiration for other state schools, private schools to inspire and implement that. We created the entire framework on which the competence-based learning will be learned by the teachers and the students. Second most important thing we are working on is inclusivity. How can you let children with neurodevelopmental disorder or special needs be not streamlined in our schools? Right now, the biggest bullies are not their peer students. The biggest bullies are the teachers who doesn't understand that a child has certain neurodevelopmental disorder. That's why they're not able to grasp it. They're not able to flourish and nurture themselves in the way the other children are doing it. So they, rather than supporting them, they actually put them on back foot, and then they drop out from the mainstream systems. So we are creating centers inside schools and outside schools so that we can support them. We trained over 5 lakhs teachers to be more sensitive towards these kids in the classrooms. So we trained 5 lakhs government school teachers to not only assess these children, but also gave them a lot of tools and lesson plans to support within the inclusive environment.
Very wonderful. I think
so. These are two very important things on which, as an organization, we are working.
So it's very interesting to understand. Like now, you're opening up the vision, and what I see is that Sri Aurobindo Society and you as an individual with that vision have a role to play at a national level, which is a huge scale. You also mentioned the population of India. And at that huge scale to create impact, we also talked about how the space of the community, it is not just about parents, it is about how sensitive a space we have around everywhere around a child. So how do you what is the role of the community in helping you or the government scale integral sensitive education to make it accessible to everyone? Like if you are doing everything in a school but the parent is not aligned, I think everything will fall flat. So how do you bring in the alignment of the parents, which are a key, and then everything moves on from there in with this system? That is one. And the other thing I wanted to ask is that do you also conduct orientation programs where you can orient parents about this philosophy, integral education, nurturing the whole being, and parents who are maybe not even part of the Sri Aurobindo school? Somebody just curious listening to this podcast and they are like, oh, is there any place I can go to learn more about parenting and education, so that even if I am sending my school to another kid to another XYZ school, I can become more aware. And if all parents are more aware, they can, rub off on the school, ask those right questions, and stimulate them to create that change.
So it's a very interesting question, and it's a great opportunity. So I want to tell you that as Sri Aurobindo Society, which is head office in Puducherry, where our ashram is, Sri Aurobindo Ashram, we have 300 centers across the world, and 90% of our centers are in India. We have 10% of our centers across the globe. So these 90% who are in India, which is over 250 plus centers, they all have certain events which are happening on day-to-day basis. And Sri Aurobindo Society, the aurosociety.org, which is our website, most of them are, being published at our website. You can always find these events according to your needs and your aspiration to learn from. But while you are talking, I am just feeling, how about we start one such program where parents not only get to learn, but they can also ask very clear questions.
Sure.
How about on this podcast, let people write to you. If there will be a good amount of people who want to learn and understand more from this perspective, we'll be very happy to engage. We'll start an entire unit on which let India learn parenting. A parenting which is integrated, which is one with the child, which is not driving the child. So we'll be very happy to, about the whole, if people are aspiring for it. You know, you
Aspiring
and
for it.
me sitting in the school and talking and having this philosophical question may not be a priority of the
For the
parents.
parents, yeah.
So if they're really
And you
keen
cannot
and-
push it something.
No,
if
not
they are
at all. You can never push. And at least from our perspective, we never push. It is available only for those who are seeking for it. In fact, the eternity is available for those who are seeking for it.
Those who are seeking, yes. There is no dearth of mentors and spaces and people who can help you navigate that space. So, moving on from there, you mentioned something very interesting, that you talked about differently abled kids. That you are doing something and you're creating centers. Can you talk more in that?
Yeah,
that?
so
Because
our
that's
aspiration is
like in India, there is no sensitivity, no inclusivity, no accessibility of any kind to people who are differently abled. What role are you playing in that?
So we are not just playing a role in the policy making, but we believe that it is our utmost responsibility to solve this. So I'll tell you where are the problems. The first problem is with the parents itself. They are not ready to accept there is anything wrong with their child because it is not visible. So if there is an autistic child and it takes time for them to look into your eyes and respond to you and have a conversation with you, they feel he's a shy guy, he's a shy kid. What he needs is a little nudge, a little support, a little more love to be looking at you and being one with you while communicating. So the parents are not ready, most of the parents are not ready to accept till the time it becomes very, very visible to them. But by that time, they are really late for intervention. But for the parents who are very conscious, very, very proactive to even solve this, the intervention is very expensive in our country. It takes 35,000 rupees per month for such interventions because it involves occupational therapy. It involves physiotherapy. Sometimes it needs speech therapy. It needs special educator. So it needs a good psychometric assessments, a psychologist to help the child. So all of it put together is such an expensive affair that their pockets doesn't allow it to happen.
और 90% तो ऐसे ही रोल रहे हैं, पता ही नहीं उनके बारे में.
मुझे लगता है
99%.
पर बहुत मुश्किल से 1% पेरेंट मिलता है जिसके पास एक कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ बीइंग कॉन्शियस टुवर्ड्स देयर चाइल्ड, दे आर प्रोएक्टिवली रिजॉल्विंग इट एंड दे आल्सो हैव मनी टू बैक इट. तो हमें ऐसा लगता है कि श्री अरबिंदो सोसाइटी में हमारी एक एस्पिरेशन है कि हमारे देश में 750 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं. उन 750 के 750 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हम एक अपना सेंटर बनाएं जिसमें ये सारी सर्विसेज, whether it is occupational therapy, physiotherapy, उनका special education, उनका speech therapy, psychometric assessment, उनका psychological counseling for even parents are being given for free.
I think this is a commendable effort.
Yeah, so we started very small last year, and till now we have already started 7 centers, and by the end of December we will have 32 centers in the country.
Where are the existing 7
So the first center which we started is in Delhi NCR. The second and third we started in Mumbai, in Kolaba, one of them is there, one in Goregaon. We started one in Tirupati. We started in Chandigarh now, in this very school where we are sitting.
Wow.
We have centers in Delhi now, and we are expanding. Dehradun, we have started a very big center in Dehradun. Now we are starting 5 new centers where the infrastructure is being given by the Kendriya Vidyalayas to us.
Wow.
And they gave the entire thing, and they thought that it's a shared vision.
That's a beautiful collaboration,
Yes,
I think.
absolutely, absolutely. So the government of India, we have MOUs with central government, with state governments. In fact, we have MOUs with 32 state governments in the country, and we feel that over a period of time, the whole machinery and the policy makers will find inclusivity as one prime reason to integrate this society. And this is where we are, creating that.
I think on that thought, this is a really beautiful initiative. And I've always thought, like, in terms of collaboration, when you are working with the केंद्रीय विद्यालय, रियल एस्टेट तो लिमिटेड है हमारे देश में, और वही स्पेस जो अनयूटिलाइज्ड है, अगर आप उसको यूज कर रहे हो. सिमिलरली रिलीजियस इंस्टीट्यूशन, मंदिर, गुरुद्वारे, मस्जिद हमारे देश में कितने हैं.
बिल्कुल,
देयर इज कोलैबोरेशन अपॉर्चुनिटी. मुझे तो लगता है ये रिलीजियस सेंटर, कम्युनिटी सेंटर होने चाहिए, और जो भी कम्युनिटी के लिए एजुकेशन के अराउंड, हाउस होल्ड इशूज़ के अराउंड जो भी चैलेंजेस हैं उसका वहाँ पे, सो प्रोबेबली यू कैन लुक एट these areas also as a space.
That. But in this, our society, there are very few people who understand the most religious thing is to serve humanity.
Yeah. वो myopic है अभी view.
Absolutely.
And you better not enter into that sensitive area.
Yeah. It's not just a sensitive area; it's very insensitive area.
Very insensitive.
How can you? So when people say that the children with special needs may occupy the space, where will people go and pray? I doubt who are we praying other than these children who needs your immediate help. And maybe I come from Sri Aurobindo's vision from near to far. I always feel that these are the kids who need your not support and love more than the God, because God is actually giving us that love to be supported to these kids.
उन बच्चों को ना करके 100 पेड़ काट के आप कुछ बना रहे हो और कह रहे हो उसके अंदर मैं स्थापना करूंगा भगवान की. I think that is something to be internally reflected. I wouldn't comment on that. So this thing about differently abled kids, I think anybody who's listening, who are in some way connected to this, they have a child or they know someone or they are interested in this area, I think this is an amazing news for them. And how can they stay in touch with the work that you're doing?
So I'll be very happy.
And if they understand that a center is coming up in their city in terms of contribution through work, through time, through money, or if they have a child that they would like to bring to such a school, I think it will be useful to
absolutely know. So through your reach, we'll be very happy to give you a lot of information right away where they can call up. They can not only find our centers but the right people. We do a lot of online support structures as well, including their lesson plans and how to teach. We have an entire learning management system for you as a parent, as a teacher, to learn how to not only identify these children but how to support these children. So we'll be very happy to give you the whole description of it, and you can put it in
so
your...
Would this be online as well?
It is an online intervention as well.
So we would put this up on the video.
Absolutely. We will send you the links, we will send you all the information so that more and more people can take advantage of that.
Wonderful. I think this is a beautiful note to conclude this amazing conversation. I'm so thankful to you, and I have so many more questions, but I think we'll continue this in part 2 of this video, and I would love the audience to comment what are the things they would like to know more about, even from like Sambrant's journey. He is a well of wisdom for me, and I look up to him as a mentor. I think the day I met Sambrant, I always had this in mind that people say you should have mentors, you should have mentors. तो मुझे लगा यार एक mentor तो मुझे मिल गया. So that being said, I thank you a lot, Sambrant. It was a pleasure having this discussion with you.
Thanks a lot, Prab, for this very fearless communication and a fearless series of questions which you asked. To be very frank, more than I could contribute, what I saw, these questions are more important. Again, going back to, are we inquiring or are we questioning?
True.
If we are in a process of inquiry, it's not the question, it's the inquiry which expands the both.
True.
And in this conversation, I have felt this expansion happening and helped me evolve so much. Thanks for putting this time and effort to be in this conversation.
Really grateful. My pleasure. And thanks to the viewers for watching this. And I think just to summarize our conversation, I think this is a call to each one of you who's listening to the podcast and each and every individual connected to education. This is a call to action and not just a call to unconscious action, like Samran said, to ground ourselves in our own being and to act from that grounded position of a nurtured human being. I think that can contribute to a beautiful society around us. And for each one of you, I think if you're inspired, even in the slightest of way, just take the smallest of step that you can. If you would like to volunteer for one of the centers that Samrant is building, I'm leaving the details in the description section. You can contact them. They are very, very forthcoming. Or just go back home and try creating that space for your child. Try asking them the question about how do they feel today. Just start there, and I think the flow of life will just guide us forward from there. That is all I wish, for us to work together to create a better future. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Do stay tuned for more such interesting conversations. Share your feedback, your opinions on the guests we should bring on board, and like, share, and subscribe. Share it forward. Like Samran said, whatever value we have, whatever we receive from the world, I think it's our responsibility to share it forward. That is also a form of service. Thank you so much. Bye bye.